Facts about the human body you wish you never knew. Because your brain has no pain receptors, brain surgery is sometimes performed while the patient is awake. Like this woman who was playing the violin while getting brain surgery. Now, everybody knows that feeling you get on a roller coaster when it feels like your stomach is turning. But do you actually know that feeling is caused by all your organs moving around your body? Next up, did you know you can break a rib while sneezing?
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here to the channel, you guys don't know what we do, let me break it down for you guys, man. We break down the most scariest and creepiest videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG reels, Facebook, anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank all my supporters, man, who's coming back to the channel, watching the videos entirely, commented down below. Even if it's just to say hi, man, it really helps us in the algorithm. And also, man, hitting that like button. I really appreciate the support. Found this video for you guys today. Let's do what we do best, seekers, man. Say it with me, y'all. Yeah, I know what we do. Let's seek the truth.
The more amazing facts that you didn't know.
Damn, he didn't even list one. Oh, another one, man.
Facts that will blow your mind. There is enough DNA in the average person's body to stretch from the sun to Pluto and back 17 times. The average human body carries 10 times more bacterial cells than human cells. It takes a photon up to 40,000 years to travel from the core of the sun to its surface, but only 8 minutes to travel the rest of the way to Earth. At over 2,000 kilometers long, the Great Barrier Reef is the largest living structure on Earth. There are 8 times as many atoms in a teaspoonful of water as there are teaspoonfuls of water in the Atlantic Ocean. In an entire lifetime, the average person walks the equivalent of 5 times around the world. There are actually over 24 states of matter that we know of. Grasshoppers have ears in their bellies. Killer whales are actually dolphins. You can't taste food without saliva. Follow and comment below which fact blew your mind.
I think it's the saliva one. And that the grasshoppers have ears in their bellies.
Nobody would have ever believed that 2 weeks after their beautiful wedding ceremony, she would be found brutally murdered. 32-year-old Melissa Jubain and Brian Gentero got married on August 24th of this year, literally less than 2 months ago. Melissa and Brian were doing long distance. She was a nurse in Oregon, and Brian worked and lived in Washington State. Their plan was that once they got married, Melissa would move to Washington and be with Brian and start their new life together. But unfortunately, that would never happen because on September 4th at approximately 10:18 a.m., police were called to Melissa's house to do a welfare check when she failed to show up to her job. Melissa was scheduled to work that morning at the hospital, and when she didn't show up, her co-workers knew there was something wrong because she was very punctual and reliable. Police first noticed that Melissa's car was still parked where she usually leaves it, meaning that on that morning she didn't even make it to her car. After looking for Melissa for days, she was finally found, and her neighbor, Bryce Sherbert, was arrested. They found crucial evidence which links Bryce to Melissa's murder, but they still have not revealed details about that. Now, Melissa and Bryce lived on the same floor in that apartment, and it was stated that he was obsessing over her for some time and just decided to take her life. I hope they come out with more details on this case, but for now, I did create an entire video going over all the details. If you want to check it out, it's on my YouTube.
Be careful, man. Even your neighbors, bro. You gotta watch everybody, man. He said he was obsessing over her, so the signs were there. Gotta be careful with the neighbors. I'm looking at my sideways now.
These are the saddest and most wholesome graves in the entire world. This grieving mother added a sandbox to her little boy's grave who had passed away unexpectedly, and now his older brother plays in it every single day. This is the gravesite of a boy who died of an incurable illness in 1865. A few hours before he died, he told his dad he was scared of death because he knew they were going to bury him underground with no lights. So the parents honor his wish and put a window in his tomb. After her daughter died of yellow fever in 1892, a grieving mother wanted to make sure that her little girl was never alone. You see, her daughter was absolutely terrified of storms, so she constructed a staircase that goes directly down into her tomb. Every time there was a thunderstorm, that mother would go to the graveyard and sit with her daughter for hours, comforting her in her grave.
Dedicated parents, man. Rare breed.
Crazy facts that will blow your mind. PT.33. The ocean is the most popular place to dispose of murder victims, and it holds more human remains than all of the graveyards on the earth combined. When you look up at the blue sky and see those white dots flying around, you're actually seeing your own white blood cells. When a person cries and the first drop of tears comes from the right eye, it's happiness. If it is from the left, it's pain.
Wow, really? Left and right determines pain and
One of
happiness.
the world's scariest animals just got a whole lot scarier, and Planet of the Apes is slowly becoming non-fiction. Because apparently chimpanzees are out here murking gorillas. Scientists in 2021 witnessed a troop of chimpanzees basically jumping a family of gorillas. And when I say gang, we're talking about almost 30 chimps pressing a family of 5. Keep in mind a silverback can weigh up to 400 pounds, could probably bench press your car. And according to witnesses, the silverback was eating chimps left and right like they were paper mache. But eventually the chimps overwhelmed the bigger silverback and even kidnapped a baby gorilla. I'm not going to tell you exactly what they did, but that family of 5 became a party of 4. And it wasn't even the last time. Because later that year, scientists watched the same group of chimpanzees do the same exact thing. Square up with a family of gorillas, kidnapped a baby, and erase its name from the gorilla census. And it's not like we didn't know chimps were about that. They often hunt bush babies and vervet monkeys, and we've even seen them use weapons like spears to do it. But it's one thing to hunt something that weighs like 5 Skittles. Going gorillas is another tier of Black Air Force activity.
I'll say.
Which is why I'd rather be locked in a room with a jaguar than a chimp. Because at least a jaguar gonna make it quick.
Jaguar or chimp seekers? I ain't gonna lie, I think I still have to choose chimp, man. Might have a chance to fight them off, but they freaking going after gorillas now. What is going on in the animal census, bro? In the animal kingdom. He keeps us up to date on all the animal lore, man. So we definitely gonna have to check it out.
Disgusting facts you won't believe are true. PT-17. Many gummy candies are made from pigskin, cattle bones, and cattle hide. Hot dogs can contain traces of hair, skin, nails, and different meats. Canned mushrooms contain over 20 or more maggots of any size per 100 grams.
Take mushrooms and hot dogs off the list, bro. We don't do those no more.
After that, they met up with 2 guys, and they were going to the party as well, and they decided that they were going to follow them behind their car. However, when those guys were driving, they accidentally missed an exit, so when they got out, they noticed that there was no cars behind them, so they figured the girls decided to do something else, and they weren't going to go to the party, so those guys went to the party with them. But Pamela and Cheryl's family did not hear from them or see them, and they reported their disappearance to the police. During the following weeks, both law enforcement and volunteers were searching for the girls near the Missouri River, but they never found a trace of them. In 2007, a man named David Lycan, who was serving a sentence, claimed that he had unalived Cheryl and Pamela. However, David had lied about this and the charges were dropped. September 23rd of 2013, the case would take a complete turn when a fisherman was fishing and he saw 2 whales coming up from the water. At that time, the water level was pretty low because of the drought, and it was easier for the car to be seen. The car was removed from the water, and you can see in the front seat were the skeletons of 2 bodies. Thanks to the DNA, they could confirm that it was Pamela and Cheryl who had been missing for 42 years. With the evidence that the police had, they were able to come up with the conclusion that the 2 girls suffered from a car accident. Pamela's father passed away at the age of 102, just 5 days before finding her body, and sadly he will never know what had happened to her.
Animals that became serial killers, Part 2. The sloth bear of Mysore. In 1957, the sloth bear of Mysore mauled over 30 humans and took the lives of 12. The sloth bear's killing spree didn't stop, and the bear just had a desire for killing. The killer sloth bear went missing in late 1957, after the killings took place. What do you think
happened to the sloth bear of Mysore?
I don't know, but y'all saw that last clip? That's some Black Air Force energy, bro. My man was recording it too, like, well, you need to hit the jets. I ain't recording nothing, bro. Edit. Call him out.
Gruesome facts you didn't know, part 240. In early Roman times, the male head of a Roman family possessed the right to life and death. He had the legal right to execute his children, sell them into slavery, or abandon unwanted or deformed newborns in the forest to die of exposure. Roughly 30,000 people, both children and adults, suffer from an amputated finger each year, with doors and power tools being the most common causes. The only satellite crashing into Earth fatality ever recorded in history was in 1961 when a cow in Cuba was struck by a metal fragment. In 1966, Lester Eubanks was sentenced to life without parole for the murder and attempted rape of 14-year-old Mary Ellen Diener. After 7 years behind bars, he was considered a model inmate and was granted special privileges. One of those was a temporary leave to go Christmas shopping at a Columbus mall on December 7th. The child murderer vanished, never returned to the pickup spot, and was never seen or heard from again.
SpongeBob. Who even came up with that?
My father.
Liam, come here. Liam, right now. What is happening? Okay, I'm calling your mom. Just stay right here. Cheese. Cheese. What you doing? What you see?
Papa.
What?
Papa.
What you see?
It's a papa.
Who are you saying hi to? Who are you saying hi to? Dude, you need to stop that. You're freaking me out. Come on.
Here are some things that are illegal to say out loud, so this is for educational purposes only. So you can't say, and I quote, let's organize a militia to overthrow the government, illegal. You also can't say, and I quote, I'm going to bomb that government building, very illegal. You also can't mention having a bomb on a commercial aircraft, obviously. You can't say, and I quote, I'm going to steal from that store and hurt anyone who tries to stop me, so don't do that. You can't say, and I quote, I'll make sure that immigrant family never feels safe in this neighborhood. That's a no-no. You can't say, and I quote, I'll release everyone's private information online unless they pay me. Of course. You also can't say, and I quote, I want to distribute, insert illegal product here, because I think it's harmless. Nor can you say, and I quote, I will pay someone to assault my neighbor. And finally, you can't say, and I quote, I hope someone shoots the president, because that's very illegal. So don't say these things.
Facts that will blow
Those are
your
very
mind.
basic things not to say.
The world population has more than doubled since John F. Kennedy was president. Black teeth were a sign of wealth in 18th century England.
What?
There's a fence in Australia longer than the distance between Seattle and Miami. Almonds are part of the peach family. The longest time between two twins being born is 87 days. A jockey won a horse race while dead. Bananas are Walmart's best-selling item. Scotland's national animal is the unicorn. May 29th is Put a Pillow on Your Fridge Day. Follow and comment below which fact blew your mind.
Put a pillow on your fridge day, bro. May 29th. I need to mark that down, bro.
Disturbing facts about the human body you wish you never knew. Because your brain has no pain receptors, brain surgery is sometimes performed while the patient is awake. Like this woman who was playing the violin while getting brain surgery. Now, everybody knows that feeling you get on a roller coaster when it feels like your stomach is turning. But do you actually know that feeling is caused by all your organs moving around your body? Next up, did you know you can break a rib while sneezing? This might sound fake, but it's very possible. So, next time you sneeze, you could break a rib. Finally, a human head remains conscious for around 20 seconds after being decapitated. I can just imagine what your mind is thinking while your head is laying on the floor off your body.
That seems impossible, man. They said there's been cases where that's been, I guess, recorded, so that has to be one of the weirdest facts we've heard yet.
Genius inventions that should exist everywhere. Some elevators...
Oh, man. I wanted to hear those inventions.
He warned his victims scouted across the Canadian border. 44-year-old Beverly Capone, and she worked as a data processor in Mount Vernon. On Monday, February 25th of 1985, Beverly went to work as usual, and when she got off from work, she was abducted by 30-year-old Alex Mingle, and he was a Dutch immigrant. Initially, Alex needed Beverly for her car, but he had some other plans in his mind. He then followed Beverly to a cabin he would often visit to hunt and fish. Once they had arrived, he had took Beverly's life. Once he had unalived Beverly, he carefully took off her face and scalp with a sharp knife. Alex then dumped her body approximately half a mile into the woods. 2 days after unaliving Beverly, Alex was seen outside of a shopping mall in Toronto, Canada. He was driving Beverly's car that was reported missing by her family. Alex crashed her car into a wall while trying to escape from police when he was cornered. As police were arresting Alex, they were deeply disturbed by his appearance. Alex was not only driving Beverly's car, but he was also wearing her scalp like if it was a wig and her lipstick. It was later revealed that in order for Alex to get across the border, he used Beverly's ID, her scalp, her hair, and her lipstick to pose as Beverly. In the backseat of the car, police discovered facial tissue, and they believed that Alex was trying to wear Beverly's face. When Alex was arrested, he tried to escape from his police escort, and that escort shot him and he died immediately. About 11 days later, Beverly's remains were found in a heavy wooded area, and it revealed that she was stabbed in the chest, and her scalp and her face were just sliced off. Unfortunately, Beverly was not the only victim that Alex had. He also did this to many others.
Mind-blowing tech facts. Did you know the first ever mobile phone weighed over 2 kilograms? Your smartphone today has more power than the computers that NASA used to put a man on the moon. The average person checks their smartphone 58 times per day. We all know that switching phones or losing data can be an absolute nightmare. Luckily, I found one that shared Dr. Phone. It makes transferring data, unlocking phones, and recovering lost files super easy. Whether it's a forgotten password or switching all of your data to a new phone, Dr. Phone has you covered. So you can see here at the bottom, this is all of the things that I can do, like back up my device, export all of my data, unlock the screen if I've been locked out, erase all of my data, transfer WhatsApp history. It literally removes the iOS screen lock, so if I get locked out on my phone because I've entered the password too many times, I can recover. So if you want to avoid all the tech headaches, hit the link in my bio and check out Dr. Phone. It's also available for iOS 18.
That's how people can be used to hack to get into your phone, man. It has some advantages and some disadvantages as well. You can just bypass the lock screen, get all your data. Gotta be tapped in.
Some facts you didn't know, part 245. During the live broadcast of a Japanese game show in 2008, the host Tetsuchi Yanagita was encouraged to join in on the game. Upon falling in the shallow, muddy waters, he horrifically broke his neck, which left him paralyzed from the neck down. Completely unaware of his injuries, the contestants thought he was just playing a prank on them. They proceeded to push his face into the waters while he struggled to stay alive. When serial killer Ed Kemper cut off his mother's head, he placed it on a shelf and screamed at it for over an hour. He then cut out her tongue and larynx and tried to put them in the garbage disposal. But it was unable to break down the tough vocal cords, and he found this rather ironic. He said that seemed appropriate, as much as she bitched and yelled and screamed at me over all those years. A fire started in Chicago on October 8th of 1871 and burned down almost the entire city in just 2 days. 300 people lost their lives and over 100,000 were left homeless. With most of the city being constructed out of wood, a 4-month drought, as well as firefighters being sent to the wrong location at the start of the fire, it became known as the Great Chicago Fire of 1871.
This is the world's most haunted doll, said to be so haunted that if you take a picture or a video of him without his permission, you'll be cursed. Also stated by many people to be 10 times more dangerous than the Annabelle doll. Now, Robert's story is weird, but here it is. Back in the 1970s, a young boy named Eugene Otto was given Robert the doll by his grandfather. Once these two met, they were completely inseparable, doing absolutely everything together, as a child and his toy usually did. Up until one night, where Eugene can remember going to sleep with Robert, but waking up in the middle of the night to some really weird noises coming from across his room. When he finally got up and checked it out, it was Robert. He was standing by himself, just looking at Eugene. After that, Eugene and the family decided that they were going to put Robert up in the attic, and it is said that Robert stayed there for years. But every single night around the same time, they would hear rustling and scraping and almost a running sound on the attic, meaning that Robert must have been running around up there. Which, as we know, is almost impossible for a doll to do, so it has to be possessed. The other damning piece of evidence is that neighbors have said that when they came home, they have seen Robert inside of the attic looking out the attic window, which is just mind-blowing. Robert currently sits at the Martellus Museum in Key West, Florida, and of course the protective spirit box, making him 117 years old, at least in this lifetime.
In my opinion, this is like the most notorious place in this entire country. The Ancient Ram Inn.
It's in this pit where they found the skeletal remains of children who were sacrificed.
It's not the sort of place I want to live.
It's a foreboding place. It is the most evil house I've had the misfortune to visit.
My father, he was a devout Baptist minister when he moved in. He was tapped by incubus, the sex demon.
Satanic rituals were performed here.
Using it for curses.
This place, every time you walk in, I wouldn't spend the night on my own. It's supposed to be linked to the devil, basically. It's a sex demon.
There, the triangular mark is what they call a witch's mark to ward off evil spirits. I'm not joking, he possesses people in here. You really have to be careful.
There's the reports of a person who was killed by having his face pressed into the open fire.
So that's why I don't live here now. It's more than just a little things moving. It's, you know, it's got this place has got personality.
Gang bang. What the?
Brave souls.
Kissing is something messing with my leg.
Ancient Ram, man. There's some brave souls going here.
This is one of the most terrifying things that can happen to someone while on vacation. In this viral video, you see 43-year-old George Gillian and his wife Lizette Zambrano being electrocuted in a hot tub at the Sonoran Sea Resort in Mexico. George and Lizette stayed at this resort with other family members when on the evening of June 11th, they both decided to go in the hot tub when all of a sudden George felt an electric shock. In this interview, Lizette said that the last thing her husband said to her was, "Oh shit," before he was electrocuted over and over again.
Last thing I remember him saying is, "Oh," and it's the same time that I felt the first electric shock. And then it happened over and over and over. I didn't hear him again.
People who saw everything happen tried to help them out, but they couldn't do much because they were also being shocked by the electrical current. Lizette was eventually pulled out of the water with no pulse, but she was given CPR and she did survive. Unfortunately, her husband did not, and now she's suing the resort for $1 million. The lawsuit says that George was being electrocuted and drowned for 10 minutes, all while the people who worked at the resort watched and did not turn off the hot tub. It's alleged that there was faulty wiring in the hot tub which caused the electrical current. And while this is a rare occurrence, it's been said that some indicators of an electrical current inside a pool includes any underwater lights that might not be functioning properly. And it's also been advised not to swim before, during, or after a thunderstorm.
Things human were never meant to see.
It's a tragic case.
Anton Lavey, founder of Church of Satan.
I won't mention his name, but it was a big leader and founder of a huge satanic organization. And he was on his deathbed. And for a Satanist, at the time of death, it's a great victory for them because death is a huge thing that they celebrate. And he was getting ready to die, pass on his powers and that. And on his deathbed, he must have got some revelation or an angelic appearance or something. And he went into shock and he said, oh my, what have I done? He said, there's something very wrong. There's something very wrong. There's something very wrong. And his whole life had been spent propagating these satanic beliefs.
Alistair Crowley, the man who spoke to demons.
Let's talk about...
What do you guys think? Do you think he saw something at the end? He was on one side, but when he got near close to the end, he completely, I guess, changed or switched his viewpoint. He must have saw something. What do you guys think?
Well, the unsolved case of Mr. Cruel. Mr. Cruel is the name given to this unknown man. He's a serial child predator. He attacked and assaulted 3 little girls in northern Australia. His crimes took place in the 1980s and the 1990s. He's been wanted since 1987, and police describe him as extremely intelligent. He meticulously stalks all of his victims and their families. and he leaves purposeful distractors at each site. There's also no forensic evidence left behind at all from him. He also always wore a mask to protect his identity, and it worked. And those masks you see on the left and right of me are so creepy. Something about the way that the left one looks over here is really messy. Apparently his behavior was unhurried and very calm, and he was soft-spoken. At one point during one of his attacks, he took a break to have a meal in the family's house. What? And he threatened the victim and the family if they even moved. So he straight up had these people in their own home while he ate a meal, and then continued his attack after he was done. Dude is an absolute psychopath. Investigators believe that he took videos and pictures of his attack during the incidents, and if he is still alive, this will be one of the key clues in getting him. He still walks free to this day, though. Let me know what you think in the comments section, and happy Halloween.
How the hell they left no forensics behind? Do you know how like impossible that is? And they never caught him. We're gonna have to catch up on that Mr. Cruel case. See if they caught him at the end, man.
This is the devastating case of Kylie Rodney. On August 6, 2022, 16-year-old Kylie went missing at Prosser Family Campground in Truckee, California. Kylie attended a school party with more than 100 kids, but it's alleged that older people also showed up, which made a lot of the teens uncomfortable. Kylie texted her mom right before midnight and told her that she would be home in 45 minutes, but the following morning, Kylie's mother got super worried when Kylie was still not home. One of Kylie's friends said that she was with her the entire evening until she decided to go home at 12:20 a.m. Police searched Prosser Lake for more than 15 hours but were unable to find Kylie's vehicle. But on August 21st, a group of divers who go by the name Adventures with Purpose decided that they would help look for Kylie. It didn't take the group of divers much time to locate Kylie's car, only 14 feet underwater. The car was upside down and Kylie's body was inside. The investigation is still ongoing and the autopsy results have not been released yet. So what do you guys think happened to Kylie? Was this a tragic accident or was there foul play involved?
I'm gonna go with foul play. There was a party stuff going on. The
This
people
guy
showed
is the
up.
real Humpty Dumpty, and his story is much darker than you think. Deep in the eerie town of Puddlebrook, Kentucky, resided Gilbert Eggman, a man plagued by misfortune. His tale took a sinister turn when he joined the construction crew. Perched atop a towering brick wall on his very first day, 3 co-workers, fueled by malevolence, sent the ladder crashing down. Gilbert's pleas for help fell on deaf ears. Desperate to rescue him, the trio resorted to a crane. But destiny had other plans. The crane, guided by an unseen force, struck Gilbert, sending him hurtling to a grim demise. The town whispered of Gilbert's curse. In the following months, darkness consumed Puddlebrook. One by one, the 3 construction workers met their untimely ends, each death shrouded in mystery. Gilbert's curse, it seemed, had unleashed its wrath upon them, becoming an urban legend in the small town. Caution for the...
So Humpty Dumpty was based off this Gilbert's curse story? We're seeing more and more cases, man, like I said, about medias that we've been watching as a kid that's really be based off true stories, but they just, I guess, switch it and turn it into something else. So you lose the, like, original point of the story. Man. Humpty Dumpty, who would have knew? That's like one of the oldest pieces of media.
The photo that you are about to see. This was captured on the Ring doorbell of Jessica Gerald on a 2014 morning around 3 a.m. It is the only shot that we have of the man who broke into her home. For context, this is a small town right outside of Omaha, Nebraska. Like, bad things don't happen here, or so everyone thought. Unprovoked and completely without motive, the man was seen on camera around 3, and then he uses a glass scoring tool where he very quietly makes a hole in the window and then enters through the living room. So the following morning, Jessica Gerald, she doesn't go into work, so her family is contacted. They go to her home, where she is found without her head or her tongue. Media investigation was launched where the footage was eventually recovered. The man seen here had also posed her body without the head sitting up at her kitchen table.
Eerie case, man.
Let's talk about this couple who cheated on the show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and thought they got away with it.
You just want $1 million!
This all happened in 2001 when Charles Ingram was a contestant on the show, while his wife Diana and a man named Tequan Whitcock were in the audience helping him cheat the entire time. So how exactly did they notice that Charles was cheating? Well, throughout the entire show, the sound technician noticed a loud coughing coming from the audience at specific times after Charles spoke.
I don't think it's an animal. Megatron, mega, yeah. I don't think it's Megatron. I'm sure it's Google.
After reviewing the footage, they noticed that the coffee came specifically from Tequan and Diana whenever Charles mentioned the right answer after the 4 options. They were able to catch a total of 19 coughs, which came from his wife and Tequan, which signaled the correct answers. But not only that, Charles' strategy throughout the game was very odd because he would state the 4 options out loud, and it was clear that he didn't know the answer, but somehow he always got it right. Then what producers found strange was that after Charles got every question right and won £1 million, he was seen arguing with his wife backstage. At the time Charles left the set, they began investigating and they did not hand over the money to him. All 3 of them were found guilty of conspiring to cheat, but till this day they've maintained their innocence, and Tequan still argues that his coughing was because he had allergies and it was all a coincidence. Ultimately, if Charles didn't cheat, he would have only won £1,000 that night.
Man, cheating on the game show, bro. People be taking it to the next level, and they really thought they was gonna get away with that. Like, you literally heard that loud ass call. And that just can't be a coincidence. And he got the right answer. Nah. They literally got caught in 4K. That's insane, man. I wonder how many other people try to cheat on some game shows.
This is the disturbing moment. This woman laughed in court after she took this 3-year-old's life in a random attack. On June 3rd, police received numerous phone calls about a stabbing at a grocery store parking lot in Ohio. At around 3 p.m. on this day, 38-year-old Margot Wood was loading groceries into her car while her 3-year-old son Julian sat in his car seat. That's when 32-year-old Bianca Ellis entered the car and began stabbing the little boy. When Margot noticed, she tried to stop the attacker, and as a result she was also wounded. Julian was then rushed to the hospital where he unfortunately passed away. Now what's disturbing was that this was a random attack, and after looking at surveillance footage, the attacker was seen following the mother and the child in and out of the grocery store. Then when Bianca was brought into court, the judge began reading out the indictment, and she was seen smiling and laughing the entire time. And after an assessment was done on Bianca, they're arguing that she has bipolar disorder and had a psychotic break, which explains why she did what she did. And this story only gets crazier. Before this incident, Bianca confessed to another murder in Bakersfield, and she even gave details of what she did with this person's body. She also warned officers that if she wasn't arrested, she was going to murder someone and eat their flesh. But none of this was taken too serious, and she was released from the mental institution, and not long after, she committed this heinous crime. This case,
you gotta listen to people have to follow up on their job, man. She's a dangerous individual, and they just let her released from that mental institution. Look what happened. People need to pay more attention, man. That's why in the store, I don't like when people follow me around, bro. You always gotta be vigilant.
This is a very sensitive topic regarding Pony, the orangutan. In Indonesia, Pony was stolen from her mother as a baby and believed to have been sold on the black market, and she was purchased by where she would be shaved every 2 days, wore perfume and makeup. The owner of this business was a woman, and Pony was chained to a bed where men would come in after paying for a private room with her.
What the?
And they did exactly what you're thinking to her. An animal organization heard about Pony and attempted to save her, but were run off by villagers who didn't want Pony to be taken away from them. But in February 2003, 35 police officers showed up and rescued Pony. She was believed to be between the ages of 6 years old and 7, and due to how the law worked at the time, no one was charged or arrested. Pony has since been kept in an enclosure as she wouldn't be able to survive on her own in the wild.
But as of recently, Pony is estimated to be either 23 or 24 years old and is in healthy condition. And this is a picture of her from 2018.
This is why you should always be aware of your surroundings. A woman was walking home one night with her child when this happened. Everything's normal until a man comes out from the darkness. He then proceeds to go to the door and start banging on it, seemingly trying to get inside to the mother and her child. Ali Porath, the mother who was seen in this video, later took to social media to explain that this all happened at around 7 p.m. at night when she was returning home from getting groceries. She explains that she had seen that man before, waiting out alone in front of her house, just watching. But ever since this happened, she hasn't seen him. And that's why it's always important to be aware of your surroundings.
Preach.
So this photo is the reason you shouldn't put your feet up on the dashboard of a car. In 2007, Granny Keeley had an airbag deploy on her at 120 miles an hour. She was sitting passenger with her feet up on the dash, and when the airbag went off, her knees went right into her skull. Obviously, this led to a brain injury. Her 2 front teeth also fell out, but she lived, thankfully. She lived without a forehead for about 2 years until surgeons fitted a ceramic forehead into her skull. She had near constant headaches, and she developed gallstones because of the medication she was on. After they fitted a ceramic plate into her forehead, they injected fat from her stomach into it so it could look more natural. This is her today, so she looks very normal now. And of course, because she's in good spirit, she says her ceramic forehead is designer because it was made in Italy. She also spent a considerable amount of time educating people on why they shouldn't put their feet up on the dashboard. Because if you do, you could end up like this. And you might not be so lucky. So, if you get anything from this video, stop putting your feet up on the dash. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. And as always, these videos are for informational and entertainment purposes only.
You guys know how many times I had my feet up on the dash when I was just, riding in the car? I'm never doing that again. No more. That's dead after we saw that clip. That's crazy. It's a miracle she survived, too. You never think something like that would happen. That is, put my foot up on the dash. We ain't doing that no more, seekers. Edit. Call them on like we see it, man. If y'all see edit, tell me down below. I might miss some too, bro.
This is a good reminder to double check every single nook and cranny in your house. Because in 2019, this couple came home after a week-long vacation to see that there was a stranger living in their home. And he had most likely been living there while they were also in the house.
How?
Also, if you like these kinds of stories, you'll like tonight's episode. Upon arriving home after a week away, Josh Campbell tried the front door of his house, but there was a stranger on the inside pulling it closed. That stranger was 26-year-old Ezekiel Zayas, and yes, this is a video he left on their personal computers. The two were able to call the police and eventually get him out of the house, but that's when they saw all of the terrifying stuff he had been up to in the home. He also left them videos on their computers that included incredibly personal information that they had only shared with each other, meaning that he had been listening to their conversations. But the worst part was the knives. Ezekiel had left notes in the house about surgeries that he wanted to perform on the family, like a hand transplant. And when the couple went into their bedroom, they saw that there were knives and other utensils all around the bed. It seemed like he was preparing to do some sort of operation on them. Frogging stories are absolutely terrifying, and I don't want to give too much away, but you might be spooked by tonight's episode.
I cannot be the only one who hasn't heard about the 10-year-old girl that is facing first-degree intentional homicide charges for stomping on a 6-month-old baby boy's head at a daycare center, y'all. What? Oh my god. Leave a like on this video, follow for more true crime, and check this one out.
A 10-year-old Chippewa Falls girl is facing charges of first-degree intentional homicide in the death of a 6-month-old boy on October 30th.
Injuries sustained by the 6-month boy was not an accident.
This heartbroken father says he can't forgive the 10-year-old girl now accused of stomping on his baby's head.
As opposed to seeing it as a 10-year-old girl, I seen it as the person who killed my son. And she, in my opinion, deserved to be in shackles or handcuffs. She's a criminal.
An imprint of her shoe was found on Jackson's head. Jackson fought for his life for 2 days but succumbed to his injuries. Now the girl's mother is sharing personal photos and videos.
What's up, guys? Today's my first YouTube video.
Do you think she's been painted as a monster?
Yes, I do.
Is she?
No, she's not. She is beautiful, intelligent, smart, loves to sing, loves to play.
Today in this video, we're gonna be playing hide and seek.
She's been locked up for 9 months.
Hey, Mama. Daddy, God.
This video shows her getting a ride from her father during a visit at a detention facility. She's smiling, but as Dad puts her down, you can see shackles around her ankles. The girl's family says she suffers from mental illness, and they tried to get her help, but were turned away.
They denied my daughter because she wasn't 12 years old.
She was trying to kill herself.
She had several indentations, yes.
And you couldn't get her help.
I could not. They sent her home because apparently I had an age limit.
What do you guys think about that story, man? That's just tragic all around. Be getting younger and younger in each of these videos we review together.
This is one of the worst cases in human history. This is the murder of Christine Siluan. She was from the Philippines and was a volunteer in church, and she used the church every day from 4 to 6 p.m. On the day of her murder, she went to church as per her schedule, but she didn't come home after that. Her parents then started to worry, and they began searching for her with their neighbors. And what they found is absolutely horrid. They found her body in a farm where half her face was sliced like a piece of pizza, and her face was literally skinned down to her skull. Also, her brain was completely destroyed by acid. The police then started investigating, and they checked the cameras and found out that she was with a guy. The people started protesting about this case, and the case was then given to special officers. They had a lot of pressure on this. A week before this happened, she broke up with her boyfriend, so the police took him into custody. And he was proving that he was at home all day when she was murdered, but officers were completely tired of this case, and they then sentenced him as the murderer. But after a few months, a thief was caught in a store where he confessed that he murdered and raped Christine. He said he started talking to her on Facebook with a fake account
Catfish.
and was using fake photos of another guy that was pretty good looking. Christine fell for the guy, and she assumed that he was about 20 years old, and they started texting daily. One day, they both decided to meet up at 6 p.m. near the church she went to. But upon arriving, Christine noticed that this was not the guy she was talking to, and he was around 40-ish years old. She then refused to talk to him and tried to go back, but he held her hands extremely forcefully. He then took her far away from town and raped her repeatedly and put iron rods inside her personal organs. He then cut her face in half and then skinned her whole head down to the skull. And to make it even worse, he put acid inside of her head. The autopsy also revealed that her tongue, trachea, esophagus, parts of her neck, and her right ear were missing. The self-proclaimed killer of this case, named Renato Lanis, said that he used barber-type scissors and stabbed her 30 times on different parts of her body and skinned her face. Christine Siluan was only 16 years old, and this case is extremely haunting.
Damn.
There's a picture of her body that was found in the field, but Google did a really good job of not showing it and hiding it. So even if you do go looking for the picture, I don't think you're going to find it. This is one of those cases that after you get done reading it, you just feel some sort of uneasiness. I feel so bad for Christine's family, and I can't imagine finding my daughter in this state. May Christine Siluan rest in peace.
Into this theory. So the theory is the company that created the Titanic also had other boats, and one of their boats was called the Olympic. And supposedly the Olympic had a couple collisions and it was on its last leg. So before the Titanic set sail, they switched ships. So basically they put the Titanic logo on the Olympic because they knew it was going to sink, and that was so they could collect the insurance money. The Olympic had 16 portholes and the Titanic had 14 portholes. There's a picture of the Titanic setting sail, and as you can see, there are 16 portholes on the side. James Cameron went to look for the Titanic wreckage while shooting the movie. He took a bunch of footage and photos and caught this picture of the Titanic. When you zoom in on the side, you can see a big letter M and P. Around that time of the Titanic, there was a big coal strike, thousands of people out of work, yet no one wanted to work on the ship due to rumors going around town. Most of the rich people who got invited to the Titanic didn't even show up. J.P. Morgan had a ticket and decided not to go. On the day the Titanic sank, the New York Times spotted J.P. Morgan out with his girlfriend at a restaurant. So let me know what you think.
You ever heard of the Hollow Earth?
What do you guys think on that one? That's my first time even hearing that theory, Seekers. But you think they really could have switched it out, and that wasn't the Titanic, that was the different ship? A sunk, that's why it happened? Get my mind turning, man.
Earth theory?
Not really, but like...
You never heard of it?
Nah.
Okay,
Alright.
so I think in like the 1960s, there was a pilot that flew over Antarctica.
Okay.
And he found a hole in Antarctica.
In the Earth? Oh, it just...
That led like into the Earth.
Yeah.
So his claim, I don't know if this is true,
Yeah.
but his claim was that he went inside
Yeah.
and he saw like a civilization inside of Antarctica.
Oh, shit.
Like deep inside the ground, underground.
Yeah.
And he's saying it's in like advanced civilization. Like they have shit that we couldn't even create.
Like robots?
I don't know. Because it just says advanced civilization, right? Okay, here's the crazy part though. Here's the crazy. So he said all of this shit, right? He came out with the news and everything and said it. Then the silenced him. Like
really?
They told him like he couldn't talk about this shit anymore.
Oh shit. Damn. Yeah. So that's how you know it's valid.
But like who knows, right? Like
who tried to silence him? Reading the Seekers? Yeah, I gotta think about that theory.
Weird Nature Facts, Part 25. Dolphins love interacting with pregnant women because they communicate using ultrasound. Not only can they hear the mother's heartbeat, but also the baby's, and they find this very fascinating. For more than 20 years, a dolphin named Pelorus Jack regularly guided ships through treacherous waters until his disappearance in 1912. A man from Argentina posted this photo of a giant mosquito called a galley nipper that his mother killed in her home. While its bite can be very painful, it's not nearly as dangerous as the smaller mosquito which can transmit yellow fever and Zika virus. Naka Cave in Thailand closely resembles a giant petrified snake. The average silverback gorilla is 4 to 9 times stronger than the average human male. They can deadlift 1,800 pounds and their grip can crush the skull of a crocodile.
So guys, we all...
What the hell? I never knew that. That big ass mosquito, what was that called again? That looks like something out of a damn freaking movie or edit. That didn't even look real. And the fact that I said that this bite's name is as deadly as a small one, bro. Goes to show you, man. The deadliest things in nature, bro. They don't always have to be big. They can literally be the smallest thing, man. Take you out.
I don't know if Taylor Swift and her new #1 hit song Me, but did you know that the Me music video hides hidden messages throughout it that'll unveil an even bigger secret that we aren't supposed to know? So first we have the title of the song Me, which is obviously one, and in the song we're introduced to Taylor's one new cat, Benjamin Button. Now the next hidden message is through this snake, 5 letters, which allegedly represents her old album, and speaking of albums, here we see 7 suitcases to represent that this will be her 7th album. And finally, we can't forget that this whole song is also made with Panic at the Disco's Brendan Urie, where his band's logo has a distinct 3 points to it. Now, guys, if we total these clues all together, we get 17, and here's where it gets creepy. If we look at what the 17th line in the song is, it is...
He's really breaking this thing down. I wonder if you could legit do that for like all the songs that are out there, man. Like break them down, cause you know, like I said, songs, bro. I mean, the point of a song is to have a message in it, so it won't be surprising if you break down some of these songs and you find like a hidden message behind it. Makes you wonder, man, when we're listening to this music, what are they truly saying, man, behind, you know, all the lines. We got the...
So guys, we all know Spider-Man from our favorite superhero movies, but if you think about it, we're never told who Spider-Man's parents actually are. But I think I may have found the answer. So the name Spider-Man is 9 letters long, and he lives in New York City, which is 3 words. Multiply those 2 together, and we get...
I mean, in the comics, I guess, obviously, they don't know who Spider-Man parents are, but when it comes to the movies, they kind of just like, you know, they just say it's Aunt Ben and Uncle May. I mean, you know, not Aunt Ben. Aunt May and Uncle Ben. You know what I mean? But I wonder, has there ever been a live-action Spider-Man movie where it has, like, Oh, actually, no, yes, they're missing Spider-Man, like, 1 and 2, okay, yeah. But not in the MCU, though. It's Aunt Ben. Uncle Ben and Aunt Mabel. I don't know why I keep getting them switched up, man. My brain is fried right now.
Sure.
All the family drama. I ain't gonna lie, that could be true for some people, man. They ain't put it together when you kids
You
be
ever
hit or
heard
something.
about Tupac faking his death and moving to Cuba?
No.
Okay, let me explain this to you. So he died September 13th, 1996 in Las Vegas after a Mike Tyson fight. After that Mike Tyson fight, he got shot in the front seat of a car in a BMW, black BMW with Suge Knight. Okay, now, apparently that whole thing was staged, like it never went down. What actually happened is that at that show that night, he had a security of entourages that brought him out and that actually imported him to the Barbados. Apparently. Now, where am I getting this source from? Someone named Michael Nice, a British bodyguard that was actually there that night, that was doing security for Tupac, said he actually assisted him in bringing him to Cuba. That's crazy. Not only that, but Suge Knight has actually came out and said that Tupac is actually living in Cuba, just no one actually believes him. Now let me go through a couple of sightings. There has been 5 sightings of Tupac since he's died, one of them being actually in Cuba with Suge Knight back in 2004.
Hey, so you ended...
That's crazy, man. I've heard that thing like a couple of times, man, but I really didn't hear the information behind it, man. But looks like he has some solid info behind that theory. And I've been hearing people all the time. They like Tupac, he's in Cuba, man. So, but they actually have like some picture evidence, a couple of pictures. Could that whole thing Prestige set up? Get my brain turning again, man. We're going to go down that rabbit hole. What do you guys think?
Up here, so obviously you think the aliens are real because they are, of course, right? But did you know that there's many that are actually trying to help us? Movies, they're often depicted as something that we should be scared of that want to destroy our planet. And for some, that's true. But not all. Talk about Lyrans, the lion people. Lyrans are a humanoid with a cat head, and they came from the Leo constellation. They were 12-dimensional beings. Sadly, their galaxy got destroyed, and they were redistributed as energy into other galaxies, including Earth. It is said that the Lyrans actually built the Egyptian pyramids. Theory is wrong, and the Lyrans actually built the pyramids in 15,000 BC. Explain why the Egyptians worshipped these cat humanoids. Including Sekhmet herself, who actually wasn't a goddess, she was an alien trying to help humans. Lyrans actually used the pyramids as a portal to go back to the Leo constellation.
This Sphinx was a carving of a lion.
I guess we'll never know.
Oh, what do you guys think? Outside of
So
2
y'all trying to
members
hear
for
that
pill?
thought that kept me up last night? So just so y'all know, there's never once been a completed T-Rex skeleton found. What about the one in Michigan with the T-Rex locked in battle with the Triceratops? It's not actually true. It wasn't even in Michigan. It wasn't a fucking T-Rex. But I digress. I don't have time for that argument. The point is, there's never been a completed T-Rex skeleton found. Which means they've made most of this animal up. One complete item that they've consistently found is the skull. The other bones are all mismatched and shit. If anybody has seen these pictures, I don't need to point out how inaccurate the people who draw dinosaurs are, because they give them the bones to a baboon, the bones to a zebra, the bones to a hippo, and a swan, and that's what they came up with. That got me fucked up. But basically what I'm getting at is it's a dragon. It's a dragon skull. A lot of its bones being hollow would have explained why they've never found a complete skeleton, because hollow bones are really hard to fossilize. I'm not saying they breathe fire, but you explain to me why there's a dragon in every single culture on the planet.
Could be spitting. But I never knew that they couldn't find a complete set of T-Rex bones, but they said are they really dragon bones? I mean, he was right to how there's like dragons in every culture, or I'm not gonna say all, but almost in everyone, in every culture. What do you guys think, bro? That's why they can't find a complete set of T-Rex bones. The dragons got to it. Interesting theories, man.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about one of the most believable conspiracy theories about the coronavirus. So as we all know, the coronavirus started in Wuhan, China, and the world went into an economical crash. This is partially due to everyone being in lockdown or being in quarantine and having to shut down businesses. Now, what do most people do when they're in lockdown inside their house and they can't go out? They order stuff online. And the majority of the stuff that we order online comes from China. So the theory goes that China created this virus so they could gain economically while the whole world crashed. Now, I know you're probably going to be like, but why would they kill their own people? China is already dealing with overpopulation. So you think about it. They killed over 1 million people around the world. Not only does this give more Chinese people room to move elsewhere in other countries, but it also tackles population reduction in their country. What do you think?
Today's conspiracy theory is going to be one of the craziest we've covered so far, and I must warn you, if you have anxiety, please do not watch this. So this theory, we're going to talk about the movie Songbird, which is supposed to come out next year, and it's supposed to talk about COVID-23. So now we're going to talk about predictive programming. The definition is here. You can pause if you want to read it. But it's basically the media psychologically brainwashing us to accept something that's about to happen. And we saw this a lot with 9/11. There were so many cartoons imitating 9/11 before it actually happened. Now I'm going to show you pieces of the trailer which are really realistic.
Tensions rise as we head to the 213th week of lockdown.
Grim new reality emerges.
COVID-23.
Curfew is now in effect. All unauthorized citizens must stay indoors and 10 minutes.
All infected Americans are being forced into quarantine camps.
So what if the government is programming us to accept the next few lockdowns? Let me know in the comments.
What do you guys think about those theories, man? Comment down below. Neil Armstrong was the first person to land on the moon. Backwards. It's alien. What the hell? I never put those two together until just now, but that's true. Holy crap. That's insane. That Neil Armstrong at the end, it got me, bro. I didn't even think about it till now. Like, what the hell? Really? It's really alien backwards. That's really creepy and eerie, man, if you think about it. And how did I not just put that together till now, man? I'm telling you, seekers, you can tap in with us, man. You can learn some interesting facts or some theories, bro. And it's like I said, it's always up to you guys, man, to do your own research just like I have to do. Crazy. You guys, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're true seekers seeking the truth. I greatly appreciate the support, man. Like I said, guys, subscribe, hit that post notification bell, hit that like button, man. Like I said, we're grinding all summer, dropping daily. Guys, I'm catching the next video. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.